I go to many medical conferences, and in this video, I'm going to share information that I have received from medical doctors who treat dancers, and also from the research done on dancers during their careers and afterwards. The information that I'm going to present is not just for dancers, it's for all women. And it's for not just young women, it's for women up until the time of menopause. So throughout adulthood, we should be having a regular menstrual cycle, and menopause doesn't happen until about age 50. What most people experience that makes them want to lose weight is a comment about their appearance or their weight. And this is for both men and women. For me, I was about 16 when an instructor said, "You look a lot better if you lost about 5 pounds." I lost 20 after she said that. So I think dance instructors and people that young dancers look up to really need to be careful about what they're saying to their students. There's a lot of companies that now have policies in place with the language used with both their students and professional dancers. So this is really a thing in the dance world now. When a dancer loses a lot of weight, they can become very sensitive to comments made about their appearance. Even if a close friend says something like, "You look really good today, you look healthy," what that person that's very thin may hear is, "I look fat," they think I look fat, and they think I'm overweight. Be very careful especially if you suspect someone has a weight problem or an eating disorder of sorts, because what you say to them can be taken in a distorted, wrong way. Dancers also lose weight because it's a form of control. It's something that they have control over. They can limit the intake of food into their body and change their appearance. And for some people, they find it very empowering. Dancers have to do a balancing act. There are energy demands that we have as dancers for our rehearsals and our day-to-day demands as a dancer that we balance with the nutrition that we take into our bodies. In that mix is rest and recovery. All of that needs to be in perfect balance for optimal health. And I'm going to be talking about how to do that in this video and about each of those things. And I'll also be covering what happens to your body physically when you have irregular periods or if your periods stop altogether. When a dancer does not have enough fuel or nutrition, we're not eating enough to sustain what our body is using in terms of energy. And for a dancer, we think of energy, energy demands, that means muscle. My leg muscles, my arm muscles, all the things I need to do to get myself through a variation and through a performance. But that nutrition that we take in also fuels our vital organs, our brain, our nervous system, and our bones. And if we're not eating enough to sustain everything, the body will convert the energy from the muscles to help sustain the vital organs. This is where we get into trouble. When you get super thin and you don't have the nutrition to meet all the energy demands of the body that I just talked about, then you start to have irregular periods, and at some point the periods will just stop. So having irregular periods of any kind is a warning sign. For women, we get a monthly health checkup. When we have a normal menstrual cycle, that is everything's a-okay. We're balancing everything. When our menstrual cycle gets wacky, then that's cause for alarm. And so it might take a doctor to help tease out, are you getting enough rest? Is there another underlying medical condition that might be going on? Or is this simply you're not eating enough to sustain the energy demands of your body? Okay, so that's the first thing. The age in which you should have your period is by age 15. If you have not had your period and you are over the age of 15, this is your body giving you a warning sign that something is amiss. I know it's a difficult conversation to have with your parents, but when you're under the age of 18, this is where you need to start. Something's not right, It could be another medical condition. If it's not, the good news is this something that is in your hands that you can fix? And usually it's a lack of adequate nutrition. That's not saying that, oh my God, if I don't have my period and I'm 16 years old, my parents will send me to a doctor and the doctor is going to make me fat. Okay, no, no. The doctor will suss out what is out of balance that you need to address in order for your menstrual cycle to start, okay, and then to stay on a regular cycle. This is about you optimizing your performance, and you're under the age of 18, you are still growing. So you want your bones to be as strong as possible. You want your nervous system to be as, bright and sharp and intact so you can pick up all that difficult choreography. This is going to help you excel as a dancer. So over the age of 15, definitely seek medical advice, okay, medical help, as far as getting your period on track. So if I have wacky periods or I lose my period, I just get on the pill and that normalizes it, right? That's a big fat myth. Okay, back in the day, when I had irregular periods and lost my period for years at a time, I went to an OB-GYN and I said, I have irregular periods. My friends are all on the pill. I would like to get on the pill too to help normalize my periods. And this person put me on the pill and I would bleed monthly. And so everyone felt better. The doctor felt better. They did something for me. I felt better because I was having a regular menstrual cycle. But that was debunked many years later when I went to a medical conference and learned more about dancers losing their period and what is actually happening when you're put on the pill. A good OB-GYN will not put someone on the pill unless they have a normal menstrual cycle, because the pill will allow your body every month to have a withdrawal bleed, okay? And the hormones that you're on, so that withdrawal bleed is different than a menstrual period bleed, all right? And it's an effect of your body responding to these synthetic hormones you're taking. Your body knows these aren't the real thing, and so they are not reacting to these synthetic hormones as they would if you had a normal menstrual cycle, okay? So I'm not saying no one should ever get on the pill, okay? This is a conversation between you and your doctor, but the pill should not be used to normalize an irregular menstrual cycle. When you have lost your periods, it's called amenorrhea, or lack of menses. That's the term that's used. And what happens is it affects the body in that your bones do not grow. And this is especially dangerous when you're in your teens and you're still growing. And basically, I won't go over into the specifics, but your body should be laying down new bone, okay? But what happens is the body starts breaking down bone more than it makes bone. And you can have osteoporosis, which is a thinning of the bone where it gets very honeycomb and hollow when you're in your teens. This is not specifically an old lady's disease. It can happen in younger people too. And one of the main causes is amenorrhea. So, and the bone loss that you may incur in your teens can be permanent. Okay, I can't stress this enough. You may not be able to recover the bone that you've lost, because once you hit 18, your bone remodeling is finished, and whatever you've got by age 18, you have to sustain through adulthood. A lot of dancers complain of stress fractures. Stress fractures can be, not always, but they can be a result of your body not having enough calcium. Calcium cannot be absorbed unless you have a regular period. Not having a regular period affects your hormones. Your hormones affect everything in the body, okay? Another place where your body gets affected is the brain. A lot of times dancers who don't have their periods will find that it's hard for them to pick up choreography or combinations. They're just not as quick to pick up things. That's because the brain becomes affected too. Other areas affected are the gut, and that means frequently dancers who don't have their periods say that they feel bloated, and because they feel bloated, they think they ate too much. They're not eating enough. Also constipation, diarrhea. These can also be symptoms of not having enough nutrition to fuel the body. The gut cannot work as it's supposed to because it doesn't have the energy sources that it needs in order to function properly. Dancers with irregular menstrual cycles can also become depressed. And no, they're not depressed because they're not having their periods. It's because of those hormonal changes that I talked about earlier. So the changes in the hormones, because you're not having your period regularly, can cause depression, which is not a good thing. Other mood shifts can be irritability and just being really touchy and moody. Another thing that's affected is your body's immune system. Dancers that have amenorrhea are more likely to get sick. When you're sick, you cannot perform well, and a lot of times you're taken out of performances. So becoming sick, becoming injured, these two things increase when your body weight gets so low that you don't have the nutritional demands to meet the energy demands of the body, and you lose your period. Losing your period will cause all of these things. And the last thing, research has shown that dancers or women, anyone who has been amenorrheic for more than a year, is at risk of not being able to become pregnant, to have difficulties getting pregnant later in life, even if your normal cycles resume. Say you're a dancer, you quit when you're 25, but you didn't have your period for a couple years in that time, you may have a hard time getting pregnant if and when you ever want to start a family. So I'm telling you, not having your period has very serious health repercussions. And some of them are in the immediate, as far as your ability to perform, your ability to be healthy. No one wants to hire or work with a dancer that's sick and injured all the time, right? So take a look at what you're doing to your body, okay, and what you might be restricting from it as far as nutrition. And if you need to seek help, okay? If you're underage, you need to talk to your parents about this. I know it's hard, but there are medical professionals out there, dietitians, in order to get you on the right course. And there should be people familiar with what are normal averages for the general population and what is normal average for dancers. But the number one thing is you can be thin, okay, and have your period, and everyone's body weight in which they lose their menstrual cycle is going to be different, okay? Some people may look a little heavy and then lose their period, and so all of our genetics are different. So it's all about being healthy and being able to be the best dancer you can be and the best performer and not getting sick and injured. And so let your menstrual cycle be your guide. If it gets off, consider that a warning sign and act on it.